Welcome to Purcell.
Replicas of 1900s-era restaurants and grocery stores welcome visitors to the Purcell stop of the Key Ingredients exhibit. It's part of the Smithsonian Institution's Museum on Main Street program for rural communities. Over 9 months, it's crisscrossing the state to visit half a dozen communities. The first stop in Wewoka featured traditional Seminole foods. At Fort Gibson, the baked goods that sustained Civil War soldiers.
That's what's so unique about this Museum on Main Street program is, yes, it's the same exhibit that travels to 6 rural Oklahoma communities, but the local programming, the local communities, the partnerships, it makes the experience different every single place it stops.
David Pettyjohn is with the Oklahoma Humanities Council, which is picking up most of the cost of the tour.
Each community pays a very small $250 fee, and then everything else is covered.
The main exhibit chronicles how America's agricultural revolution led to slavery, as well as the invention of new methods of food preservation like canning and freezing. Visitors explore cooking techniques from the colonial hearth to the modern stove, and America's transition from eating most meals at home to frequently dining out in places like Purcell's Railhead Diner, which has been serving up comfort food for more than 70 years. At the exhibit, antique kitchen gadgets on loan from local residents help teach how children of the 19th century often made butter. After checking out churns, students from Wynnewood got a chance to shake cream into butter.
Until you hear this sound going back, forth, back, forth. It's like a little sweeter with store.
Okay, here we are at the Chisholm Trail.
Purcell is using the exhibit to showcase how America's hunger for beef helped turn a place once known as the Queen City of the Chickasaws into a rough-and-tumble Old West boomtown. Many big cattle drives met up with trains at the Purcell railhead to ship the beef to markets in the north and east.
Miss Bliss? Yes, Susan. You've got yourself another Harvey girl.
The railroad also brought in America's first restaurant chain, the Harvey House. A 1940s movie screened as part of the Purcell exhibit celebrates the restaurant's prim and proper waitresses. They wore starched white aprons while serving up elegant gourmet meals featuring seafood and produce shipped in from all corners of the nation and prepared by highly trained chefs.
The train must be dead. The train must be bad.
Rail travelers' orders were wired ahead, so food would be ready when the trains pulled into the station.
People could go get a wonderful meal quickly and efficiently while they were on their train because there weren't dining cars.
This is a replica of the Harvey House that once stood near Purcell's Santa Fe Depot. Librarian Peggy Cook donned her own Harvey Girl apron to talk about an incident there that led to a famous court ruling.
Fred Harvey did insist that the gentlemen diners wear a suit coat or a sport coat when they were eating. And there was one visitor on a railroad train who did not want to comply with this. And so he was not allowed to eat, and he sued Mr. Harvey. And when that went to court and eventually was settled, the judge said, no, the Harvey houses are known for fine dining and have high expectations, and the judge upheld that, and so it was upheld that people who were eating in the Harvey house, the gentlemen did have to wear their coats.
At Purcell, the Chickasaw Nation is sharing a dish called the Three Sisters Stew. The story of its ingredients expresses a core Native American value that each member of a family or community relies upon the others to succeed.
They use corn, beans, and squash, planting those 3 ingredients in the ground, using the corn as the oldest sister, the strongest sister, letting the beans grow up the corn, and having the squash cover the ground below, feeding it with different nutrients.
The exhibit isn't confined to the library. Main Street antique dealers are displaying the cookware and table settings that have brought generations together around dining tables. And families are sharing their most prized recipes on collectible cards featuring photos of the dish or its originator.
Her name is Lively Ann Fisher, and she is standing in front of her home with 2 bowls in her hands. And one is her wooden biscuit bowl, and it is so well used and so loved that there's a hole worn in the bottom of it.
One of the most unusual recipes is Tricky Sam's possum and tater casserole.
Step 1 is catch the possum.
That was actually kind of cool. They looked good.
March 10th, the exhibit travels to Goodwell in the Panhandle to focus on the foods that helped Oklahomans survive the Dust Bowl. And over the summer, It will also make stops in Winoka and Collinsville.